Good morning. Thank you all for being here on this bright summer day. We are here to begin a journey across the state of New York. But the purpose of this journey, it is to talk about how we plan to improve the lives of workers all across New York State by pushing and getting passed through legislation the Mario Cuomo Economic Justice Plan that all workers in New York will make a minimum of $15 an hour. And we are proud to have the sponsor of that program, our Governor Andrew Cuomo, with us today to begin the tour. Also with us today we have Senator Brad Holman, Assemblyman Guillermo Linares, the President of the Building and Construction Trades, Gary LaBarbera, President of Teamsters Joint Council 16, George Jorge Miranda. We also have Wayne Spence, the President of the New York State Public Employees Federation, PEF. Executive Director of the New York State Nurses Association, Jill Ferrillo. Secretary Treasurer of Workers United, Edgar Romney. My favorite Romney. And so at this moment, we want to begin the program, and it is my honor to bring to you our controller, Scott Stringer.
Thank you very much, George Gresham, Governor Cuomo. Thank you for bringing me here today. I just want to cut to the chase and talk to you a little bit about the economic quarterly we just released for New York City. And here are the numbers. The good news is 4 million people are working, the most ever before in the history of New York City. The troubling news is that low-wage jobs are on the rise, and in terms of real wages, people in those jobs are making 3% less than they did years ago. So we're creating jobs where nobody can afford to pay the rent, feed your children, and have an aspirational uplift to the middle class. And that is why this is such an important part of our economic strategy. If we don't raise the wage to 15, we're going to increase homelessness, we're going to keep people down, we're not going to be the aspirational city or state we used to be, and I can't think of a more appropriate campaign, the more important campaign, to name after Mario Cuomo than this fight for 15. It impacts everybody. It impacts everybody. And finally, when people say, well, why does this matter? Tell them the numbers don't lie. These are facts. If we don't bring the wages up, then we are going to be truly a city that lags behind, and that's not what we're about. So I'm excited to get on the bus, and I'm glad to fight everywhere in the city for the fight for 15. Thank you, Governor Cuomo, for bringing us together. Thank you. And now, when we think about the coalition that's being built here, the elected officials, the people in our communities, nothing's more important than the labor leaders who have been sounding this alarm and this cry for a very long time. And Mario Cilento is in the front of the line when it comes to fighting for the working people of the city. I'm honored to introduce him today. Give it up for Mario Cilento, AFL-CIO.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you very much. First, before I start, let me just say on behalf of the 2.5 million union members in the state of New York, I want to thank the Governor Cuomo, for leading this fight, having the courage of his convictions to put this at the top of his priority agenda. Thank you, Governor, for leading this fight, and we know that together we will be successful. I want to thank George Gresham and 1199 for all the work they're doing in this campaign. George, thank you for leading it on behalf of the labor movement. Let's hear it for George. Let me just say this. I'm proud to be here today on behalf of the entire labor movement, public sector, private sector, building trades, Buffalo to Brooklyn to Long Island, and everywhere in between. Because the entire labor movement is in this fight, because this is a fight for what is right and just and true. And what is right and just and true is that the minimum wage in this state needs to be raised to $15 an hour, and it needs to be raised right now. Because, brothers and sisters, the fact is this. This is a campaign that says everyone deserves a fair day's pay for an honest day's work. This is a campaign that says we can finally close the gap in income inequality in this state. We can finally close the gap between the haves and the have-nots, and New York should lead the way. But most importantly, more important than anything else, this is a fight for dignity and basic self-respect, because there is a dignity and a basic self-respect you feel as a human being when you're able to support yourself and your family solely on your wages, solely as a fruit of your labor, without having to ask for and receive public assistance. There's something with being able to afford putting a roof over your children's head, clothe them, feed them, simply because you went to work every day and you worked as hard as you can. That's what this fight is about. Let's not lose sight of that. Let's not lose sight of that. And the last thing is this. At some point in time, all of us have earned minimum wage at some point. I earned minimum wage when I went to high school, when I went to college. But it was different 30 years ago, growing up in the Bronx in the 80s. When I went to high school, I worked part-time at a supermarket, and I made minimum wage, and that allowed me to go out with my friends on a Saturday night and do the things that you do when you're 17, 18 years old. When I went to college, I was able to use my minimum wage salary to pay for books and pay for your notebooks and the pens and the pencils, all the things you need for school. Brothers and sisters, 30 years later, we're at a point in time where that's not the case anymore. The vast majority of men and women making minimum wage are now full adult adults who have to support their families in addition to themselves. $9 an hour is an impossibility to do that on. So brothers and sisters, remember, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be out there who are going to fight us on this. So I ask all my brothers and sisters here in the labor movement across this state to say this, that we're all in this fight together, public sector, private sector. Everyone deserves that minimum wage. County workers, city workers, building trades workers, everyone. Everyone. So let me ask you, we're going to have to make our voices heard throughout the state. Are we going to stand together? Are we going to join together? Are we going to fight together? Are we going to raise our voices together? Brothers and sisters, we're all in this fight together, led by Governor Cuomo, with the labor movement throughout this state. Together, brothers and sisters, we're all in this fight, and together we will win this fight. Thank you very much. And now I have the sheer honor and the privilege of introducing to you the Dean of the New York Delegation, certainly a mentor to many, including myself, Charlie Rangel.
Thank you, Mario. Governor, union leaders, brothers and sisters, we've been down this road before for justice. We marched from Selma to Montgomery. We fought marching to Washington and trying to make America better. We're so fortunate to have Governor Cuomo. He doesn't talk the good fight. He brings people together, Republicans and Democrats, to do the right thing. I am so proud in Washington to be a New Yorker, because New York is the beacon. It sets the standards for people to live together like decent human beings. We have hurt the middle class like we never had before. And like Mario says, when you lose your self-esteem, when you don't believe you can make it, when you can't look your kids in the eye and say that you're going to make certain they do better than you did, it takes something away from you. $15 is just a goal that we're setting now so that people would have a sense of confidence in our city, in our state, in our country. How proud we are to have a governor that doesn't talk the talk, but he walks that walk. So remember today, this is the beginning. I present to you the governor of the Empire State, Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, first, I'm a little confused. They told me we were going to get in a recreational vehicle and we were going to drive all around the state. I brought my fishing pole. I thought we were going to take some vacation time, but it doesn't sound that way. We're going to go fishing. We're going to go fishing for economic justice all over the state. Let's hear it for George Gresham in 1199, which has been a great engine for social justice always. To our great controller, Scott Stringer. Let's give him a round of applause and thank him for his support. Our brothers and sisters in the labor movement, Mario Salento and the AFL-CIO and Gary LaBarber and everybody who's here, let's give them a round of applause. And to our congressman, who you want to talk about walking the walk, Congressman Charles Rangel has walked the walk all across the United States of America. He is a beacon for economic justice, Congressman Charles Rangel. It's all been said. We know the problem. The problem is an economy that is polarizing wealth and polarizing opportunity in a way we've never seen before. Controller Stringer's right. We have more jobs. We're creating more jobs in this state than have ever existed in the history of the state of New York. And that's good. The jobs are there. What's bad is the jobs are polarized. And if you have the right skill set and the right education or the right access, you can make a lot of money. But if you're not in that niche at the top end, you are on your own and you're left out. And it is an economy for the lucky and the left out. More polarization of income, more income inequality than ever before in history. Middle class and working families are going backwards. We know that. We also know what we can do to make a difference. And what we can do to make a difference is stand up for the middle class, stand up for the working families, make work pay, and that means raise the minimum wage to $15 so you can actually raise a family. Mario Salento said it. FDR set the minimum wage, and you know what he said? The minimum wage is not about just subsistence. It's about having a decent living, because it was about the dignity of work. And what we said to people when they came to this country is, we want you to be part of it. We want you to work, whatever you can do, to the best of your skill and the best of your ability. But we will respect you if you do that, and you will be part of our family. We have lost the respect for the working families in this nation. And that's what this is about. Paying a minimum wage that actually respects the dignity of work, allows them to take care of their family, is the first step. The second step is paid family leave. Because paid family leave is all about respect for the worker. And too many workers are treated like a commodity today. And if you go into your employer and you say, you know what, boss, I need a couple of weeks off because I have a problem at home, the employer will say, take a couple of weeks, take a couple of more, and take a couple of more. Don't bother coming back because I'll find another worker to replace you. Paid family leave says, yes, we work. We also have families. We also have a life. We have to balance both. And if a person needs to take care of a family situation, they shouldn't go broke to do it. And that's paid family leave, and we're going to make that happen. Why do we call it the Mario Cuomo campaign? Because Mario Cuomo was all about principle. And he was all about fighting for justice on every front. And Mario Cuomo believed that New York was a special state. And it wasn't just like any other state. And it was the state that could show the way. It was the state that could stand up for principle and fight the good fight and win and have accomplishments and have progress and shine a light for the rest of the nation to see. This is not just a New York problem. It is a national problem. But when we pass $15 an hour and we pass paid family leave, we're going to say to this country, the dream is not dead. The dream is alive in New York. We have the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We're going to respect workers. We're going to make work pay. We'll make it happen here in New York, and you'll see that wave go across the country. God bless you.
So we've had our conversation. We also want to recognize President Greg Floyd is here as well. All right, thank you, thank you. So we've had our conversation now, and now we have to do the work. This is an historic moment. 3 million people in New York State stand to get a raise, stand to be able to walk with the dignity and pride of being able to take care of their family because their hard work will earn them a living wage. And so we will now board the buses in order to go around the state so that not only you, but other people across the state go to your communities, go to your churches, talk to your legislators, and let them know that this is the right thing to do, that people are depending on you, that you got elected to do things like this, and to me there's no more nobler or bigger thing that you can do for your constituents than to make sure they have the ability to take care of their families. So the time for talking at this moment has ended because we're about to go into action. So let's board the buses and we'll see you all on the tour.